So Buster Olney did say that the Phillies are on, quote, a World Series tilt, according to a league GM. And that league GM has allegedly stated that the Phillies are going to get a star. Now, as we know, we get a lot of anonymous tips and quotes in this time of the year that GMs and execs are saying around the league. So as Buster Olney was writing out and sharing with us, was told allegedly the Phillies are going to get a star, and that I have no doubt, and it's interesting, when talking with other execs of other teams, one general manager put the phrase as World Series tilt. Which teams right now are on a World Series tilt where their feeling is we got to win the World Series or it's a bust? The number one team on that list, Phillies. We know this, right? This part is no surprise. Absolutely, it is a World Series must-win now type of a team. But what we don't know is this exciting part about the fact that the Phillies have been listed as getting a star. It says, so whether it's Garrett Crochet, whether it's signing Juan Soto, doing something, Alex Bregman, they're going to do something big, Olney said. And there's no doubt about it, guys. There's no doubt about it. And that's not only my feeling, but so many of the people with other teams, they just see the Phillies loading up and trying to push it across the finish line. So, time to get irrational. Will it be Garrett Crochet? Now, latest reports, let's start there with Crochet. We've talked about what Crochet could mean for the Phillies and how it's very much possible. But according to some reports, it actually was not looking as possible because allegedly what would have to happen for the Phillies to land Garrett Crochet is that Chicago is requesting Andrew Painter in return. And obviously, by no surprise, with Andrew Painter, he's an untouchable. The Phillies are not going to move Andrew Painter. So if in order to get Garrett Crochet, it requires the Phillies to have to involve Andrew Painter in a deal, no deal. So it does seem like, unfortunately, the Phillies will not actually be able to get Garrett Crochet unless they're able to come to terms on some other options for players that would be involved in a deal. So some counter reports to Buster Olney's report is that Garrett Crochet's deal could not happen because they are adamantly wanting Andrew Painter in return. And so some other teams, Dodgers, Red Sox, Orioles, are allegedly some of the more likely destinations for Garrett Crochet. That makes sense to me if they're wanting a Crochet Painter move. We want both guys. We want Garrett Crochet and Andrew Painter, not either or.
Yeah, there was one. Now, it wasn't like an MLB insider the other night that proposed a trade with Alec Boehm. I believe it was the Mariners and the White Sox, where Garrett Crochet ended up in Philly. Mm-hmm. Boehm plus Abel Crawford and Tyler's boy Taiit ended up in Chicago with Seattle getting some other stuff. I forget what it was exactly. I do not want to give up. Andrew Painter is untouchable. I almost died wearing a fake mustache for that man, so he can't go anywhere. But I do have a lot of interest in Garrett Crochet because of that bridge to the future and pairing him with Andrew Painter. You know, if you believe the stuff model, this is a guy that's had some injuries. You know, I think the knock against him is, well, when you look at his workload and, you know, he hasn't pitched that much yet.
Yeah,
it's fair, but he also came out of the bullpen. He also had some injuries, so you have to factor in all that stuff. When you look at if you believe in Eno Saris and his, plus stuff model that he uses for pitchers, Garrett Crochet's stuff is off the chart. Mm-hmm. So when you think of the idea of helping the World Series tilt that they're on, and I trust Buster Olney a lot, versus weighing the future, I think it's kind of like the perfect type of move. Mm-hmm. And somebody in our Discord was like, all this Crochet obsession. And I was like, well, in fairness, it comes from the Phillies.
Yeah.
Already kind of trying once. Mm-hmm. And the reports right away were, well, they're going to run it back again this offseason. So clearly it comes from an internal kind of obsession with Garrett Crochet. I think the smoke is real in this case. And depending on what you give up, I would love it.
Yeah, it would make a lot of sense. I mean, honestly, we're talking about with Andrew Painter, a 21-year-old top prospect, the 6'7", we've seen the stuff, pitcher of the year in the Arizona Fall League, has shown us in his short sample size and his return with the Desert Dogs that he's the real deal. He's someone that we're excited to see into the rotation, hopefully by the All-Star break at the latest. But then on the other side, Garrett Crochet, just 25 years old. And when you look at what Garrett Crochet has been able to put together statistically, obviously would be a great addition for the Phillies. You know, you're talking about a guy with a 5-pitch arsenal, mid-90s velocity on his fastball, a career 3.29 ERA, an all-star, AL comeback player of the year this past season, and has shown you what he can do as a starter. And he also has 2 years of control left, which also makes him more valuable. So if the Phillies wanted him, you would get a guy that you know can be on the opening day roster, but you're also not wanting to give up. Again, Andrew Painter is that untouchable piece. He is the piece for the future that you're starting to prepare. When you look at this pitching core, you're starting to prepare him for leading and being the ace for the future. So it is a shame that they would want Andrew Painter in return, because to me also, I guess you're getting a little bit younger, but isn't that's not a move that I think would help the White Sox? If you're the White Sox, you're needing pieces. I'm sure Andrew Painter is one of those pieces, but I don't know. It to me seems like a horizontal, like a change of just kind of the same type of a guy. The only difference being that Andrew Painter is younger and we don't know. His ceiling could be even higher because there's so much unknown for him. But all that they are needing for Chicago, they should be open to, I hate to say this, like, don't be greedy. They should be open to, if we're going to give you, instead of Andrew Painter, we give you, like you mentioned, Bohm and some other prospects. To me, that seems like it should be an upgrade. And it should be enough for them to be in on the Crochet deal. But if you have teams like the Orioles, the Dodgers, the Red Sox that are willing to give more, that's okay. Phillies can take their name out of that hat.
Yeah, I found it. It's from an account, Just Baseball. It's a 3-team trade. Garrett Crochet ends up on the Phillies. Alec Boehm ends up on the Mariners. And the White Sox receive a bevy of picks, including Tait, Justin Crawford, McAble, and then Ty Pete and Michael Arroyo from Seattle. So Seattle, the White Sox in that, hypothetical. And we don't roast hypotheticals because sometimes people are just a year early on their hypotheticals, like our own Tyler.
Very much so.
And that was a compliment. I mean, all you jackals online that react to everything like the world is burning need to take a breath and touch some grass, as the kids say. So, the White Sox kind of need to decide what they want, because some of the reports are saying that they want MLB position-ready players now. If you're the White Sox and you trade Luis Robert and Garrett Crochet, like, just grab all the prospects you can and try a full rebuild.
I hate to be rude.
Like, what are you doing?
I hate to be rude, but you've got to be realistic. You're the worst team in baseball.